So this next question is asking us to solve this system and then which system below has the same solution. So we're just going to put a check if it has the same solution and a check if it has a different solution. So the first thing I want to do is solve. Okay, I don't have a variable that's equal to anything, so I have to eliminate. I'm looking and I don't see anything that eliminates naturally. These numbers are smaller, so I'm just going to go ahead and I want this to be a negative 6x and I want this to be a positive 6. I could use 12, 24, any multiple of 6. Sorry. In order to make this negative 6, the scale factor has to be 2. In order to make this a positive 6, the scale factor has to be 3. Again, if you're Bri or Ashton, you need to make sure that you're distributing to all terms inside the parentheses. I'm going to rewrite it. Negative 6x plus 8y equals negative 6. 6x, oh, they're going to eliminate. That's what I want. Keep distributing. Minus 18y equals negative 24. These eliminate. Beautiful. Negative 10y is equal to negative 30. Divide by negative 10. Divide by negative 10. Y is equal to positive 3. Now, in my coordinate, I have positive 3. I'm going to substitute in for y into my original equations. I'm going to do it to the top one just because it's positive. Negative 3x plus 4 times 3 is equal to negative 3. Negative 3x distribute plus 12 is negative 3. Subtract. Negative 3x is equal to negative 15. X is equal to positive 5. Again, this is a system, and this is a midterm, so I'm going to check my work in the second one. X is 5. Y is 3. 10 minus 18 is equal to negative 8. Check. Perfect. So that's my answer. But I haven't even answered this question. That's what's so frustrating about this, is my answer is 5, 3. So there's two ways I could do it. I could go through and solve each and every single one of these in the same painstaking way that I just solved this, or because I checked it and I knew I was right, I can take this point and I can substitute it back in to all of these, just like we do in our 8th grade do-nows, and see if it works. That's completely up to you. You're going to do the rest of this one by yourself. For this one, for question 4, I'm given a system. 2x minus 1y is greater than 3. And x plus 1x plus 1y is greater than 4. Okay. So I'm looking and I see that these are both going to be open lines. So I'm going to look at all my answer choices. They're all open lines. That's not helpful. So what I can do now is I need to match these equations to one of these graphs. I need to actually turn them into slope-intercept form, which means I need to solve for y. Okay, so the first one, this is just this top equation. I'm going to solve for my negative 1y, subtract 2x, subtract 2x. Negative 1y is greater than negative 2x plus 3. Divide, that's a negative 1, not a 4, sorry. I divided by a negative. 2x minus 3. So I'm looking for something that has a y-intercept of negative 3. This one does. This one does. Oh, perfect. Does C have a y-intercept of negative 3? It's not C. Okay, so even at the very least, I've eliminated one of my answer choices. Now, I'm looking for the line with the y-intercept of negative 3 to have a shading that is greater. Oh, sorry, less. Ooh, sorry, miss. Less. Sorry, it's less. My bad. Less. So this one has a negative 3 and it is less. This one has a y-intercept of negative 3. But the shading is above, so it's not B. This one has a y-intercept of negative 3 and the shading is below. So it's either A or D, and I haven't even done the second one. So the second one, I subtract 1x, I subtract 1x. And I get y is greater than negative 1x plus 4. So I'm looking for a y-intercept of 4. This one has a y-intercept of 4. D does not. The answer is A. The other way you could have done this, and that I actually did it, is pick a point that's in the solution and plug it in and see if it works for both. That could be cool too. Okay, question 5 is very similar to the last one, except we're creating the graphs. So here are my two equations. These are in standard form, which means in order to graph them, I need to either turn them into slope-intercept form or use my intercepts. I just am much prefer to turn them into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to go ahead, take my paper. The first one, x plus y, 1x plus 1y is less than 3. Subtract 1x, subtract 1x. 1y is less than negative 1x plus 3. That one is right. So I have negative 1x plus 3. My second equation, 2x minus 1y is greater than 6. If you notice that there's a lot of negatives that we're dividing by in this review, that should ring a bell that this is something that you're going to have to contend with on the exam. Divide by negative 1, sorry. Divide by negative 1, 2x minus 6. So these are my two equations. Let's go ahead and graph them, and it's asking me which of these letters fall within the solution set. I also know both of these lines are going to be dotted, so let's graph the first one. Positive 3 is my y-intercept, and my slope is down and right. So here are my equations. I need to go ahead and graph them. So my first line starts at positive 3, and it's negative, so I go down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. You get the drift. I'm going to finish my... So this is my line. It's got a negative slope. First of all, it goes through A, and I know that this is not a shape. This is not a solid line, so I know that A is not going to be an answer. Now I need to graph the other line. I'm going to start at negative 6 and go up 2 over 1 and continue that. So this line that has y is less than is at the positive 3 intercept, so I'm going to shade less here. And this line that goes to the negative 6 is also a less, so I'm going to shade less here. And here's where the solution set is, and that's J and G is your answer. Okay, for this question 6, it's a word problem. First, we need to figure out what the cost of each special is given two equations. They're asking us for the system. I'm assuming you've already read it at this point. I've got a total, and then I've got two inputs, so it's pretty clear that I'm going to be in standard form. So I went ahead and I created my equations. For Thursday, I made sure you got a label that X is chicken and Y, X is, veggies, and Y is chicken. It's really important because when you get your answer, you need to know which one is which. Now, we're going to have to do some major multiplication here. I see that both of these are divisible by 7. So I'm going to go ahead and use X to eliminate. You could easily use Y. So I need to think about what these multiples are. I'm going to use my calculator. Be right back. Okay, so after playing around with the calculator, I was able to figure out that I could make this a positive 168 and this a negative 168. I was just playing around with some of these multiples. It took me a minute. So that means that this one needs to be multiplied by negative 8. And this one needs to be multiplied by 6. So once you do that, you get Thursday's equation and Friday's equation. After I multiply by both scale factors, I end up with negative 104y equals negative 832. I divide by negative 104. I divide by negative 104. You get y is equal to 8. So y is 8, and I can go back to my variable y is chicken. So chicken is 8 is going to go with chicken. I need to go back to my original word problem, figure out what it says. It says the cost of chicken is going to be $8. So now I need to go ahead and substitute 8 back in for y to find the cost of the vegetarian X. Go ahead and do that by yourself, and I'm going to tell you the answer. The answer is 7, 8, and 7 is the answer. If you need help, raise your hand or ask a partner. That's everything from yesterday's question dump. Next questions are from today's. Okay, for question 1, I set up my equations again. It's kind of like that skeleton I gave you. I have Bridget and Tom's equations, and then I have X's 1-inch binders and Y's 2-inch binders. It's a quick elimination here because they're both in standard form. I'm just going to multiply this top one by -1, Bridget's. -2x minus 4y equals -30. 1x equals 5. X is 5. 5 is 2-inch binders. So in 1-inch binders, sorry. So that's $5. And I would substitute it back in. I'm going to substitute it in for Tom's. 3 times 5 plus 4y is 35. 15 plus 4y is 35. Subtract 15, subtract 15. 4y is equal to 20. Y is also 5. That seems weird to me, so I'm going to check it by the first one. 2 times 5 plus 4 times 5 is equal to 30. Again, I'm always checking. This is a midterm. Sorry. 10 plus 20 is 30. That is true. I'm right. Again, I'm assuming you've read this. Once you've read it, you realize that this is in slope-intercept form because they're not giving you a total and 2 inputs. They're giving you a starting rate and then a rate of change that's being added to it, right? The starting rate is their booking fee and then an hourly fee. So they're both equal to y. You're used to seeing it y equals mx plus b, but we have to be okay with this. You cannot eliminate here because they're telling you what y is equal to. So instead of y here, I can substitute in a 58x plus 88. So I'm going to set it up. This is 8th grade math. 95 plus 57x. Sorry, this is 7. Equals y, which is 58x plus 88. These numbers look big, sorry, but no big deal for us. Circle my variables. I'm going to subtract the 58x. 95 is equal to 1x plus 88. Subtract the 88. Subtract the 88. 7 equals 1x. So x is 7. Now I need to figure out what y is going to be. So I need to substitute the 7 in. For 1, I'm going to choose the top one. 95 plus 57 times 7 is y. 57 times 7. $399 plus 95. 494 is my y. So then the question is it 494 hours for $7 or $7 for 490 hours? It's $7 for 494 hours. When we're looking at these lines, we're looking at solid or dotted. So right here, this is dotted, solid. So that's important. First, I'm going to find the equation. Y, it's not equals. Y is greater than, it's dotted, so it's not equal to. Like x plus 1, I'm going to find the slope. It's negative. And I'm going 1, 2, 3 over 4, so negative 3/4 x. If you want to use a table, you can absolutely use a table. I'm just trying to be quick here. Y, this is less, it gets the butt, and it's also darkened, a solid line, so it's equal to blank x minus 4. Again, slope's negative. And I'm going to find 2 clean points. It's really hard. There's one here and there's one here. I go up 2 over 5, so 2/5. X minus 4 is the equation for that line.